every single person should have to work in a hospital, like in hospice, or with special needs individuals or elders or anything along that line to realize how privileged you are. A lot of people, whenever they start feeling pessimistic and they want to give up, they start forgetting how much they have going for them, right? How much you really do have and how much you can utilize to make your life better. There are so many people in this world that would literally kill to be in your position right now. They would do anything to be in your position. If you work, some people have worked in even like jails and have said how much that's changed their lives. I've worked with like high-risk children since I was really young, like with neurodivergent children and just people in general, and that has changed my perspective on life immensely. Like I've worked with like children with medical needs, autism. I've worked with children who are like missing a chunk of their brain, right? So their quality of life and their potential in life is going to be so much more limited. And you know what? The difference between the chances of that happening to us and them, so slim, right? It's just by chance. And you were lucky enough to be born the person that you are and to have all of these things going for you. So if you are worried about how little you have, how little you've accomplished, comparing yourself to other people, oh, it's embarrassing for me to try to do this, it's embarrassing for me to take that chance, people are gonna laugh at me. Who the hell cares? Who the hell cares? Because at the end of the day, we're all going to the same place. We are all, at the end of the day, everyone's going to die. Everybody is going to die, and that's just how it is. It's so important to just do what we can with what we have, because so many people get caught in this like comparison with other people, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna give up because this person is so much more ahead than I am and they started before me, and oh, like people are gonna laugh at me if I try this, or people are gonna judge me if I try this and I don't succeed, and oh my gosh, and blah, blah, blah. You are in so much privilege to even think about those kinds of things, to even think, oh, they would judge me. The fact that you are more worried about their judgment rather than the fact that you don't have the resources to do this, or you don't have the ability, like the physical capability or the mental capacity to be able to do that, you're more worried about their judgment. Do you realize how much privilege that is, that you can do that you can think like that? Take the chances that you can. In this video, I'm going to, if you are feeling burnt out, the reason why I'm making this video, okay, was because for maybe 2 weeks, right, I was so burnt out. I was like, everything that I'm doing sucks. I don't want to do anything. That is a big ass truck. I was like, I don't want to do anything. I just quit. Like, I don't want to do anything. Everything sucks. Like, I'm so tired all the time. I have no motivation. I was comparing myself to so many people, and I was just like, you know what, if I'm feeling this way, there's definitely a bunch of other people who are feeling this way too. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to do any of my school stuff. Like, I literally didn't look at any of my school stuff for like probably a week. And I was like, oh, there's so much shit that I have to do now. Like, I can't catch up and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? And I'm going to share some things that I think that everyone just kind of forgets. And you know what? Maybe I got into that little rut because oh my God, I know that boy. I literally know that boy. Maybe, and I was like, maybe I'm getting into this rut because of the fact that I didn't work with these kids for so long. Once I started working with these children again, I started being like, damn, like I have so much going for me. I have such privilege, and the fact that I'm overlooking this is insane. And obviously everybody gets burnt out. Everybody, you know, has those times, but it's so important to be able to like reel us back in before you get into like a really bad situation. Okay, the first thing is that for you to be burnt out, you must be dealing with a lot of things, right? You must be doing a lot. Okay, so if your end goal is to be an actor or something like that, an actress, right, and you're working so hard, you're auditioning for so many things, you're preparing for so many things, right? And you're just like, I'm not getting anything, no roles are coming to me, I feel like a failure, I hate everything, like this is just not working and I want to quit. And there's a big difference between I have no interest in this anymore and this isn't working and I keep failing and that's why I want to quit. Those are two completely different things, and you need to make sure that you're sure of it, because if you have put so much effort into all of these things that you've done, into auditioning for things, preparing for things, practicing, blah blah blah, if you have put so much effort into this, you deserve to see how this can play out, right? There's so many people, so many famous millionaires and billionaires who are now very, very successful, who had to try over and over and over and over. They failed more times than you have ever tried. And had they not have pushed that one more time, you know, there's so many people out there, so many famous people, very successful people who have probably thought to themselves, damn, this sucks. Comedians who have bombed jokes over and over and over, and we're just like, this is so embarrassing and I don't want to do this anymore. And there was this one comedian that I talked to, and he's rather successful, and he was like, you know what, there was this one time where I performed and I bombed so badly and it was so embarrassing that I didn't perform again for 3 years. And now he's really successful, he makes a lot of money, right? But had he not tried again, he had just been like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore because this is embarrassing, he would have never seen how successful his life would become, right? And that would have been a huge injustice towards him, because he practiced and did so many things to become successful. But if he had just given up on himself, then he would have never seen like such a fabulous life that he's created for himself now. And a lot of people are like, I failed so many times and this is just not working, I failed so many times. So what? Like, you learn each time you fail, you learn a new strategy, right? You see all these people, right, who become successful extremely quickly and their success fades really quickly, right? Because they didn't fail enough times to be able to maintain their success, right? Because the more times you fail, the more you learn from that. You learn how to bounce back from something. If you learn how to maintain a schedule, you learn how to, you know, deal with different things within your industry that you're working for. But like, for example, if you want to be a social media influencer and you tried for 3 years, and that's whenever you started gaining like followers and stuff. But if there was somebody who only practiced for 1 year, or not practice, but like posted for 1 year, and they became successful, they're probably more likely to just like fall off because they don't know how to engage with an audience. They don't know how to keep going with that, right? And you've just put so much effort into everything that you've done, for even like medical school or something with university, and you're just burnt out now and you're like, I don't know if I can continue this. I don't know if it's worth it. In the end, you started this for a reason, because you wanted to do this. Now, if your interests have changed, because your interests have changed, then by all means, go do something else. But if your interests have changed only because you feel like you're not smart enough, because you still want to do it, but you just feel like you're not smart enough, or you feel like you're going to fail, whatever, keep going, because you've worked so hard already. You deserve to see the end result. You deserve to feel successful and feel happy with what you're doing. And so many people like complain about how many times they've failed, how many tests they failed, how many maybe exams or classes or whatever. Or like people are like, oh my god, I bombed so many jokes, I tried so many things and it just keeps failing. There's no max amount of times that you can fail something. You can keep going and going and going and going until you finally get it. Like, people are like, I've been posting for 3 or 4 years and I'm not gaining anything, I'm not growing. You are gaining knowledge every single time you post. You are learning what works and what doesn't work, how your audience engages to things. You are learning that every single time you post. And not only that, you don't have to pay money to post on like TikTok and YouTube and things like that. You don't need to pay money. There's no max amount of times that you can do something. There's no max amount of times that you can try. So it doesn't hurt to keep trying. It does not hurt to keep trying at all. Just keep going and see where this ends, because you deserve to see your hard work pay off. Not only that, but we all have our interests for a reason. We all want dreams for a reason. There's a reason why my sister wants to be a doctor, my other sister wants to be a lawyer, and the reason why I want what I want, right? There's all different reasons why, you know, one of my friends wants to be a vet. I don't want to be a vet. I couldn't care less to be a vet. But we all have things that we want for a reason, because we are attracting those interests, and the interests are attracting us, right? Because we're meant to do those things. And there's some people who just never end up doing what they were meant to do. They had a dream of being a singer. They had a dream of being an actress. They had a dream of being a doctor. But some people, they don't end up doing that because, one, maybe they don't have the resources, which if you have the resources, that's another reason why you should be doing this, because you are meant to be doing this. But there's some people who never end up doing what they were meant to do because they give up, they quit. So I knew this really, really talented gymnast, right? And she ended up quitting. We had a really, really horrible coach, but she ended up quitting her gymnastics career because people were making fun of her for doing gymnastics, right? Because she was getting older, she was going to school, and people were like, why are you still doing gymnastics? Like, you're too old for this. You should be focusing on this. You should be focusing on working and blah, blah, blah. And she ended up quitting. Had she had stuck it out, she probably would have made it to the Olympics. Like, she was amazing, right? But she quit because there were too many people telling her, like, oh, this isn't going to make you any money in the future. This is pointless, blah, 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 blah. And the coach was kind of mean to her and whatever. So she ended up quitting because she was listening to external opinions, which brings me to the next point. A lot of people fear embarrassment and they fear judgment, right? They don't want to embarrass themselves in front of other people. And as soon as they realize that people are judging them or making fun of them behind their backs or talking about them, whatever, they quit because they don't want that, right? What do you think it's going to be like when you're successful? What do you think it's going to be like whenever you are rich, or whenever you become a doctor, or whenever you become like a famous actor or influencer, or you're valedictorian or whatever? Do you think that every single person is going to be like, wow, so amazing, so awesome, blah, blah, blah? Do you really think that? Because I don't. Because you know what? Jealousy breeds so many negative people, right? And whenever you're successful and other people are not successful, what is that going to create? A jealous environment. So you might as well just get used to it. I think that it's whenever people judge other people for doing things that they like, first of all, pathetic. But second of all, I think it's actually sometimes helpful to the person that's dealing with that, like to the person who is receiving the judgment. Because if you're going to become successful in anything, people are going to be mean because they are jealous, they're envious, and they want to be you. So as horrendous as it is, and I've been judged for things that I've done and whatever, and people have been, have said their own opinion, and I'm just like, whatever, bro, but whatever. It is what it is. Like, if you want to be successful, whatever you're doing, you're going to get judgment. If you are the highest of the class, there's people that are going to be jealous of you and talking about you. If I remember any time that I got a good grade on a test, right, there were always people that were like, yeah, it's because she's Asian. It's because she's Asian. She didn't actually study. She doesn't deserve to get them high marks, but it's because she's Asian. That is why people would talk badly about me. So there are always going to be environments where it like fosters jealous people and whatever, but that's just a part of life. Like, there's going to be miserable, jealous people, and that's just a part of life. Just go for it. Like, if the embarrassment and the judgment of people are what's holding you back, go for it, because that is so temporary. Like, people being like, oh, she's so embarrassing for posting that, he's so embarrassing for trying to make this team, he's so embarrassing for trying this, and she's so embarrassing, blah, 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 blah. That's so temporary. In the future, you're going to be rich, successful, and you're going to have rich and successful friends, and they're not going to judge you at all. You're going to be with people who you are actually on the same level with, but for now, you're stuck with these people, okay? So you're just going to do the best with what you can. The next point that I'm going to talk about is comparison, okay? A lot of us, we've all compared ourselves to our friends, right? Oh, she's prettier than me, she has more money than me, she has more experience than me, blah, blah, blah. Like, for example, if you and your friend want to audition for the same show, the same TV show, because you both want to be actors, right? And you're like, okay, well, she has a lot more experience than me, so I'm not going to audition for this. Why the hell would you do that? At least audition for it. Like, at least audition for it. Why would you do that? Now you took your chances from 50-50 or even like 30-70 to 0. Why would you do that shit? Now she's probably going to get the role, or somebody else is going to get the role and get further ahead of you than they already were, and you're still stuck at 0. Like, why would you do that shit? Like, we always sabotage ourselves so much by comparing ourselves to other people that it's so ridiculous. It's like, and like, our brain is naturally wired to deflect from situations, right? Because we don't want to embarrass ourselves. So our brain is like, okay, always trying to seek like survival and safety. But survival and safety is not going to create success. our brain is not really wired for like success and taking risks. That's not what our brain tries to do. Our brain tries to keep us safe and to keep us out of embarrassing situations. But whenever you want to audition for something and your brain says no, you probably can't do that because you're probably not going to make it, you have to be like, you know what, I'm going to try this because that's one thing that if I do get this role, I can put that on my resume, and then I can get further. It doesn't matter where you start, you just need to fucking start. Another thing that I really strongly believe is that our brain compares ourselves to certain things that we think are achievable for us, right? Like our brain wouldn't spend so much time wasting time on comparing ourselves to things that don't matter or cannot be achieved. Like usually you don't compare yourself to somebody that's below you. You compare yourself to somebody who's above you, or, you know, like mentally above you, because if we compared ourselves to anything lower, like we already know that we already achieved that. So what's the point in comparing ourselves to that? But whenever we compare ourselves to something that, you know, seems further ahead of us or seems above us, like somebody who's more successful, somebody who's already, you know, made it in life, somebody who's really rich, whatever it is, somebody who's a famous actor, famous singer, whatever, we compare ourselves to them because we actually think that it's possible for us to get there, right? We actually think it's possible for us to achieve that. So we think like, why am I not there yet? Why am I not there yet? Why am I not a millionaire like they are yet? Because we think that it's possible for us to get to that place. Because why on earth would our brains spend so much time comparing something that would never be even realistic? You know what I'm saying? But I do think that the main thing is to not let the jealousy break you to the point where you don't want to do anything anymore, but more so use it as, I fucking hate whenever people say this, but use it as fuel. And I feel like you need to get to a certain point of anger to use it as fuel. Some people are like, just use it. Use the jealousy as fuel. Like it's to show you that it's possible. Which, like, yeah, obviously. Like, I already know that it's possible, but like, when is it gonna happen to me is the question. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, usually, like, people are like, you're only jealous of your friend who won $500,000 because you know it's possible for you too. Which, like, yeah, obviously, like, I obviously know that it's possible because it just happened to them, but like, why the fuck is it not happening to me is the question. But oh my god, I got too heated, I lost the. But I think that, you know, like, if your friend, you know, got the role that you wanted or whatever, it has to get to a certain point of anger. Whenever jealousy turns into anger, don't let that break your relationships with other people, okay? Because you never know what they can teach you. And also, it's just not fair to the other person to be like, I fucking hate you because you're more successful than me. That doesn't even make any sense, you know? You turn every bad situation into something resourceful, right? Like, if your friend got the job that you wanted, try to get them to get you in. That's an in for you. If they made a really successful influencing account, like social media account, and they're an influencer now, tell them to give you tips. Like, don't turn everything against you, because a lot of people do that. They're like, I'm just gonna give up now because somebody got it before me and now this is fucking annoying because I tried harder and blah blah blah. Stop playing the victim. Stop doing that shit. Like, take everything that you can and turn it into a positive for you. If you have, you know, somebody who's really smart in your class and you studied more than they did on this test, but they still did better than you, okay, great. Now ask them, how did they do so well on that test? Use everything that you can to be successful, because so many people compare themselves to other people. You are not in competition with anyone. You're in competition with yourself. You are not two people at the same time. There's a reason why our souls are just within our bodies. We're not one soul shared in between two bodies. That doesn't make any fucking sense. So me, I'm looking to this girl who's walking now, me and her, we're not the same person. So why on earth am I going to compare myself to her? We're not the same fucking person. You know, I'm only in competition with whoever else I was in with the past, right? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I do this too, where now that I'm just thinking about it, I'm like, I'm so fucking ridiculous for ever comparing myself to somebody else, because we're not the same. Like, they don't know half the shit that I've been through. I don't know what they've been through. So for me to be like, well, I'm not going to do this anymore because they got it before me, who the hell cares? Like, that was their time to get that, you know? That was their time to become successful. My time will come too. So to compare yourself all the time to other people is just such a waste of time, because you, like, at the end of the day, all you have is yourself. And so use all the resources possible. Don't ever sabotage yourself. Don't ever, ever, ever sabotage yourself. And another thing, this really prevents burnout, but celebrate every win. Celebrate every single win. If you just hit 100 followers, you're going to celebrate those 100 followers. If you just hit 1,000 subscribers, you celebrate those 1,000 subscribers. Celebrate every single goal, because one thing that successful people do, they celebrate everything. They really, really do. If they won an award, they're going to fucking celebrate. They're gonna throw a party. If they win, if they've gained 1 million subscribers or 1 million followers, they're going to celebrate that. Celebrate it, because first of all, it's creating in your head like a reward system, and also this will, you know, make you want to work harder. But not only that, it's manifesting. It's manifesting because you are now treating yourself like somebody who's in the position that you want to be in. Because if you were hitting, you know, 5 million followers, you would be celebrating. So why would you not celebrate when you hit 5,000 followers? It's the same thing. It's still a milestone, and you celebrate that. You don't just celebrate whenever you hit your end final goal amount. You celebrate every single milestone until you get to your goal. But yeah, this is the video that I was gonna make a different video, and then I was like, you know what, I would rather do anything else than sit in front of this camera right now. So now I'm just like boosting my own ego and trying to get myself to like stop wanting to quit everything that I do. But yeah, anyway, that is the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Now I have to go and study.